Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're all going to be building our very own maps. And within those maps we're going to be building things like towns, and beautiful lakes, and green forests. We're going to be taking a look at Honshu. This is from Renegade Game Studios. It's for 2 to 5 players. Now today we're going to be doing a rules school, and you're going to be able to skip the rulebook and learn how to set up and play the game. But first, I'll give you a 1-minute quick overview of what the game's about, and then we'll get started. Honshu is a card selection and map building game for 2 to 5 players, where over the course of the game you'll be building your own maps for different strategies and different points. During the game you'll be playing cards, and the one that played the highest number will get the first selection as to which card they'll add to their own map. You'll then be adding your cards to pretty much anywhere on your map as you see fit by covering up or hiding items underneath other cards. And you'll be building up your map for different strategies to try to get you the most points possible. To set up, first you'll take the 4 different types of resource cubes and put them in their own piles in the middle of the table where everyone can reach. You'll take the 6 starter province cards, and they have either A or B on them. You'll decide which letters you're using for everybody that game. You'll take these and you'll deal them out with the letter chosen face up for everybody. Any cards that are not used for this province startup will go to the box and will be out of the game for good. Each player will then place resource cubes of the right color on the square boxes to match at the beginning of the game. Next, depending on the amount of players, you'll use a certain amount of random player order cards. If we're playing with 4 players, we would just play with 1 through 4. We would shuffle these up and then randomly shuffle them up to each player. In addition, each player will also receive a scoring summary card. Shuffle all the map cards into a deck and then deal 6 cards of these to every player face down. So each player setup would look something like this. The game is 12 rounds long, with each round consisting of 2 phases, a card selection phase and a building phase. During the card selection phase, each player, going in player order by these cards, will select a card from their hand and place it face up. After each player has played their card face up in the middle in player order, they then get reordered. Starting with the highest number and working their way down, you give 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the 57 was the highest, 47 was the second highest, 39 was the third highest, and 19 was the lowest, so they get reordered. That means this player gets the first choice as to which card they want. Maybe they want this one. Second player would pick. Maybe they want this one. Third player would pick, and then fourth player would pick. Now when playing those cards, you're not stuck with just the number that's there. If you want to, the first player to do so can drop any resource cube onto the card that they play. It adds 60 points to the value regardless of the type of cube. So in this case it brought this card from a 19 plus 60 to 79. And the other players played, and I have this here so that this is the highest, so they will get the first choice because 79 is the highest. If anybody later wants to also play a cube, they can, but it has to be on their card and it has to be the same color as any first cube played. So in this case, it's the same cards in the same locations as before, but the order that they'll choose are different because this player played a cube and no one else did, so they have the highest and will go first. After the card selection phase, we then go to the building phase, where each player will take the card they just took and they'll build it somewhere on their map. Now they have to at least cover one edge or put on top 1 square. You can place as many as you want, but at least 1 square has to be covered or be covering a card that's already there. With the exception that if you have a lake, the lake can never ever be covered ever in the game. But maybe I place it like this. You could put it in any orientation. You can cover up as many or as little as you'd like. But in this case, let's just say I put it like this because I want my town to be bigger and I can't cover the lake. If in a future round I got this card, you can place them on top of places you have resources, but those would go away. So let's say if I did something like this, anytime you place one that has a square on it with one of the 4 resource colors, you then place the resource on it just like that. After the building phase, we go back to the card selection phase, with the player that has the number 1 player card will be the first to play a card. And you'll continue through the card selection and building phase throughout the game, with a few exceptions. When you have 3 cards left, meaning after the first 3 rounds, because you start with 6 cards, everyone will take their 3 cards and pass them to the player to their left, and you'll continue. After the 6th round, you'll be out of cards, so everyone will get 6 new cards from the map pile. And after the 9th round, you'll have 3 cards left yet again, and you'll pass these to the player to your right this time. At the end of the 12th round, we'll score using the scoring summary. First of all, you'll score your forest. You'll get 2 points for every visible forest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 2 is 16 points for forests. Next, we'll score our towns. You will get 1 point for every town square, but you only get it in your biggest town. So here I have orthogonally a huge town of 16, so I would get 16 points. I don't get anything for the smaller towns, only my largest single town. Next, we'll look at our factories. During the game, we had gotten these cubes that we may have used during the card selection phase to add value to our cards. But at the end of the game, you can take those cubes and place them on factories. So in this case, I have this, and it's gray, and I will put it into this starburst looking factory. And this one, because it has 3 flowers, will give me 3 points. You'll do that for all the cubes that you have left and put them in as many factories as you can, scoring points as you go. Now the lakes, you go through each of your lake districts that touch each other. The first one is worth 0, but then after that every one is worth 3. So I have 3, 6, 9 points of lakes. You add up all your points, whoever has the most is the winner. If there's a tie, the one who has the most visible fallows, which are generally worth nothing, will be the winner. Well, I hope this helped you dive right into the game without having to read the rulebook and enjoying the game faster. Now if you have any further questions about the rules, I have put a link in the description of this video. This will be the best place to put them because not only will I be able to answer them, but so will the publisher, designer, and developers.